What's going on, guys? Kai here, back with another Legends Neverland video. Today we're going to talk about the new core skills, and we did a video about a week and a half ago where we went over what the new skills were. These pictures right here, going over what the skill was, how it interacted, and something that we noticed was there was no cooldown on anything. Now they're actually in game, as we'll see right here, including the additional skills, which do level. That was something we were wondering about, and we actually have the cooldowns of all of them, and we're going to walk through them. For example, we have Oppression Slaughter, which is the pair here, then the Slaughter skill, which has been in the game for a long time, but just refresher, and then the new one, Oppression, as well as the additional skill that works when you have both of them. Now, all the new stuff, like the Oppression, Tyrant's Descent, and all the new ones and red skills are posted over on my Discord in the resources channel. But first, let's jump off into the Oppression Slaughter. This is the pairing. Oppression Slaughter triggers Tyrant's Descent. Then we have Slaughter. When you hit someone under 60%, you deal % extra damage. The lower their HP, the higher the damage, and also lowers their speed. Cooldown 8 seconds. Now, it doesn't actually have a cooldown of 8 seconds because it's 8 seconds per person. If, let's say, top league, you're fighting 3 people, you hit someone, trigger Slaughter. You hit the next guy, trigger Slaughter. You can't trigger Slaughter on this guy until 8 seconds pass, but you can keep trigger different people. Then we have Oppression, which at max, which is all the same cooldown all the way down, which is important. For example, Slaughter started, I think, 15 seconds or something like that, and it scales down to 8 seconds. When a character deals damage to enemies, so you, 15% chance to deal 330% attack, which, if we look at Slaughter, 230 was the extra damage. This is 330. So very, very important. What makes it work with Slaughter is if they're under 60%, it's 100% chance, 15-second cooldown. It also gives you damage increase of roughly 20% for the next 6 seconds. So does more damage than Slaughter, which is, pretty crazy, and then gives you DI, damage increase. The only thing that I don't know and will require some testing will be if this follows the same cooldown as Slaughter, which I don't believe so. Slaughter, as we said, can trigger for each player, but because this has like a damage increase aspect to it, I think the 15 seconds is going to be a flat. You will hit someone, trigger Oppression, and then you can't then Oppression someone else for 15 seconds. That's what I believe, but this does require testing. Then, what's interesting about all of the additional skills is they're only really tied to the new skill. So as you see, after triggering Oppression, it doesn't require you to trigger Slaughter, but you can only have Tyrant's Descent if you equip Oppression and Slaughter. It doesn't require you to trigger Slaughter, it requires just Oppression. But because of how it's worded, you're only going to be able to really trigger Oppression when they're under 60. You do have that 15% chance before they're at 60, and then even, let's say you hit someone 100%, trigger Oppression with that 15%, even though you haven't triggered Slaughter yet, you will still trigger Tyrant's Descent. It gives you attack, for 6 seconds. And when you deal damage for each 10% HP lost, more damage. So we said 60%, right? So they've lost 40%. So that would be 1.8 times 4. I do rounding, so 2% times 4, 8, roughly 8% more damage on top of this, increasing your attack by 10%. Alright, we spent a lot of time on that, but I just wanted to show what we're looking at. Swift Assault, Fierce Attack. So Fierce Attack is the one we know. If you normal attack or skill someone 3 times, deal additional damage equal to percent of the target's current HP, no more than 150% of your attack, towards the target hit, and grants 60%, 60% damage increase for 5 seconds with 15-second cooldown. This is a third of the time uptime. How people have generally been using this is they use it in tap and go strategies where you go 1, 2, 3 and then do a big hit. Let's say the archer's multi-arrow, something like that, spear drop, one really big hit that will be increased by fierce attack, and then dip, run away for 10 seconds, and then you can do it again. The new one, Swift Assault, when a character normal or skill twice in a row, so this will definitely trigger before the other one, and then works with it. And as we see, its cooldown does go down 16, 16, 15, 15 seconds. It'll give you 12.71% attack, which giving you attack scales with fierce attack because the cap of the damage it can do on the 3 hit is based on your attack. So you can raise that cap. And then it definitely works together because this triggers on 2 hits, this triggers on 3 hits. So this bonus attack will always be in play when this 3 hit happens. And then it gives you 13% pierce rate, which is nothing to scoff at for 6 seconds, which that pierce rate will be in play during that 3 hit trigger as well as that next big hit with the 60% damage. Now, the last thing pulling it together, Fluttering Gale, after triggering Fierce Assault, deals additional damage equal to 150% attack, which is, remember, increased from Swift Assault, and gives you more attack. I mean, this is always good for the next 6 seconds, and then roughly it'll take you another second to do the 3rd hit, leaving you with that 5 second, which falls in line with the 60% increase. So really, it falls in line of what it's trying to do. 1, 2, 3, and then that one big hit, and then run away again. The only downside is a lot of people would mix fierce attack with something like rigidity so they can live a little bit longer to the next fierce attack trigger, fierce attack combo, but you're forced to take Swift Assault to get that bonus damage more. Boom, trying to one-shot someone. Warrior Spirit, Fighting Will, triggering Invincible War God. Fighting Will, this is one that historically has been kind of bad, only really works in a long-term game mode. The best place for this has always been something like Guild Boss, where that you could actually use that build-up. It always gave you a great build-up, but you have to build up to it. Normal attack or skill, gain a stack of Fighting Will for 4 seconds. Each stack gives damage increase up to 5 times. When it's maxed, gives you pierce rate. Now, something we're not really going to touch on in this video, but this is a great one to think about, is the generation that you go with for these things. Because we have a very specific fighting will strike that once you're at max fighting will gives you cooldown as well, which obviously is a big deal for those long matches like Guild Boss. Warrior Spirit 12, normal or skill, gain Warrior Spirit, so exactly the same length, exactly the same cooldown, but each stack gives you crit rate 5 times, so 20% crit rate at max. And when it's at max stats, it gives you 24% crit damage. So yeah, this is still looking like long battle increase. So it's still looking like probably going to be best in slot Guild Boss setup. And then obviously you can swap things. You have 4 seconds, which isn't long enough. You really need a little bit longer. You'll lose a little bit, but remember you could swap teams in Guild Boss. You could have this until it's down to 60, swap, trigger the 60-60-60 stuff, and then swap back. You will lose a little bit. You'll lose that bonus crit damage and bonus pierce rate for a little bit, 4 seconds, and then you'll get them right back. It won't be a big issue. And then Invincible War God increases their duration by 50%. So you'll lose the downtime for 2 seconds with Invincible War God, and the attribute buffs increased by 25%. That means the crit rate, crit damage by 25%, the damage increase and pierce rate by 25%. Just like I said, this is looking like best in slot Guild Boss. Spirit Ward Mantra. Now, this is innately going to be one of the scariest things because Mantra is one of our scariest things. It follows the fairy bombardment kind of thing that's always been going on, where people just drop both fairies, swap, drop both fairies, swap teams, drop both fairies, swap, drop both fairies. You drop 8 fairies and run away. Let's see what happens here. This is Mantra. As you use a fairy skill, it gives you Mantra for 6 seconds. Each stack gives you attack and defense. Stack 3 times. And Spirit Ward. After using a Flower Fairy skill and hitting an enemy, character damage increase and damage reduction for 6 seconds. Damn, 30%. It does not increase the damage of the fairy, but it does that damage increase, damage reduction. You're obviously going to be using skills while you're dropping your fairies. So that damage increase is innately increasing your damage output. And then the damage reduction. This looks like not worded great. Have to see if it's character, like a class damage reduction, but it's worded like full damage reduction. So it'll also reduce incoming fairy damage by 30%, which in a fairy war, whoever has Spirit Ward is winning out. And then we trigger Floral Message. When Flower Fairy deals damage, crit rate and damage dealt. This is not to you, this is to that fairy. And no cooldown and win fairy skill. So this is giving all of your fairies that you drop crit rate and damage. 30% more damage on all of your fairies that you drop. And like I said, we're not really talking a lot about the generations, but this has a very scary implication, which is Sprout a Flower, which does the 45% damage. So 45, 30, This is character damage increase, so this doesn't work. This is attack, so the fairy damage is scaled on your attack. The defense will help you live longer, and this is definitely doing everything that a fairy bombardment group wants to do. This is the innate one that I am most scared about so far. Frenzy / rigidity. Now, rigidity and God Bless have always been that kind of tank duo. And they gave us Frenzy Rigidity and Flow God Bless. We'll have to see what happens here. Frenzy Rigidity triggering a bloody battle. Rigidity, as we've seen, once you take damage 3 times, gives you a shield based on percentage of max HP, 10 seconds, 20-second cooldown, and 36% damage reduction. Frenzy, when character deals or takes damage, damage increase and damage reduction for 4 seconds, 10-second cooldown. This damage reduction is going to scale with the rigidity damage reduction, but we'll have to test it. Every time they do this, it's always different. We'll have to see if it's additive, which will mean that 36 plus 23 to get 59% damage reduction, or if it's going to be multiplicative, which will roughly be 60 to 70% of that number. This we'll have to see. This will require some testing, but 40% uptime on Frenzy is really nice. It's also damage increase, which is an offense purpose to rigidity that we haven't seen before, which you deal or take damage, that's a very easy trigger to trigger bloody battle. When you take damage, if your HP is below 60%, restore 15% of lost HP, and then gives you damage increase and damage reduction. Same duration and same cooldown as Frenzy. So this is definitely put you in that thick of it. This is innately sounding like a very good Earth Brawler type build, because you have all these damage increases, damage reductions, shields, heals, and then you're triggering all of your erodes. This is looking like a very solid strategy for Earth, in my opinion. Maybe even a more damage focused water build. But I'm seeing some very cool things, because water, remember, increases your healing effect. So this heal could actually get kind of stupid. 15% lost HP. You have the water passive. You have the increases from what those water fairies have. You can have some very stupid stuff going on. And this is flat damage increase and damage reduction. So even those percentages on percentages like Calamus could be very funny. Then we have, last but not least, Flow God Bless, which triggers Cosmic Harmony. Now this one is also one that's kind of scary, because God Bless has always been one that once you stack it, makes you a very scary person. And also on some of the later servers, it's kind of required to have God Bless or you get one shot. So we'll see. God Bless, when in battle, you get one stack every 2 seconds. Max 5. Each stack gives you block, tenacity, protection rate. And when you stack to max, you get damage reduction. Flow, you get mastery at the same rate as you would God Bless. And this gives you attack and defense. And at max gives you max HP 15%. That's looking good for Gladiator, because their damage is based on HP. That's looking like a very solid gladiator choice. And then Cosmic Harmony. After you have 5 stacks of both, this is the hardest or longest one to actually trigger. When character takes damage, obtain a shield equal to 6% max HP, which remember you just got 15% bonus max HP, lasting 8 seconds for 25-second cooldown. So if you can play this kind of like tap and go strategy where do a knock up, do a dash out, use a dodge, and then come back in, they hit you, Cosmic Harmony, get the shield. This could be a very big shield all the time. Let's just do real quick calc. See if you guys can see this. Let me move this around. I'll put that right there. Boom. So I'll make this smaller. Sorry, I wasn't expecting to do this. So calc. I mean, 3 mil seems about what you're going for. Obviously, we can get a lot higher. This is just a very small idea. So 6% is 180k shield. And remember, this is after your barrier. Yeah. And easily, let me see, it's every 25 seconds. Let's round that to 30 seconds. So twice a minute. Matches at least 3 minutes. So times 6. Yeah, that's an extra third of your HP if the battle goes 3 minutes. Let me know which ones you guys think is the best so far. Like I said before, let me, boom. There we go. Like I said, what I like so far is Spirit Ward Mantra is a scary one. It's definitely going to go into that Fairy Bombardment group. Spirit Warrior Fighting Will is going to do some very crazy things in Guild Wars specifically. Swift Assault Fierce Attack is going to be a tap and go strategy. Think something like a bow player. Any of the bow players is definitely going to make some fun use of Fluttering Gale. Oppression Slaughter has some pretty crazy numbers, but everything else seems to be doing a bit more. Frenzy Rigidity is looking like a very solid tank build, even more so than Flow God Bless in my opinion. I think this heal right here, the Bloody Battle, giving you that heal and damage reduction, even that damage increase, obviously that's nice too, but on a 10-second cooldown instead of a 25-second cooldown, and that 15% it's lost HP. But if you're doing Gladiator, you lose HP, cast skill, and then the heal from the skill is over time. So at the point that it hits, you get, and then someone hits you, you're lower HP right now, so when they hit you, you get a bigger heal, and this is going to be increased by water. You're going to do some very funny boom, 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 especially if you have block and block recovery. It is maxed at 100% now, but we could do some very interesting things. I can see some Glad Priests doing some stupid things with Frenzy, Rigidity, Bloody Battle. But I think a lot of people are just going to do Spirit Ward, Mantra, and PvP. Let me know what you guys think down below. Till next time, guys.